Hey everyone, welcome to the Oklahoma Venture Forum podcast for April 2019. Today we're with Ben Schwarz from Goggle Auctions talking to us about his presentation about VR in the automotive industry. Good to see you today, Ben.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let us know, for the people who are not in the room today, what you're going to talk about as far as how Goggle Auctions is taking VR into the auto auction industry.
Yeah, definitely. So in our current state of the automotive remarketing industry, you have real estate all over the country. You have large, footprints, if you will, of auctions all across the country. And so what we're doing is we're taking that real estate and throwing it into VR, where it pretty much is limitless inside that space. And so we can take a 300-acre auction and put 1 million of those in VR.
So obviously there's potential for reduced cost, availability.
Exactly, yeah.
The spread of your market. It's not a regional thing or something that someone has to physically be in the room.
Yeah,
with,
definitely.
Right?
So if you have an internet connection and you're in Taiwan, you can log in and buy a car, or throw the goggles on, the VR headset, and buy cars as well.
Does using the goggles versus looking at something on a flat screen help with the experience?
It does, because like I said before, it's limitless in there, correct? And so you could be buying cars in Dallas, turn to your right, and be buying cars in Orlando. Turn to your left, be buying cars in California. When you're really limited to a 36-inch screen, you can only throw so much simulcast windows up, and they black out, they crash. Well, in VR, it's limitless.
So obviously you see this as the future of this industry, but you're leading the way. What other technologies do you think will come along with VR that will augment the automotive industry in this aspect?
Yeah, so I really think VR is like, I'm a huge proponent of VR. VR probably is the future within this industry. And so I'll talk about condition reports, for example. Every car at an auction has a condition report. They go from 0 to 5 being the highest. So a lot of buyers like to buy 5 OCRs. And so they get a little eight pictures of it, grainy pictures. They can't really see it. But in VR, we can take that into a 360 spin, interior, exterior. Right. You can look at the whole vehicle as if you were there.
And VR is relatively a new technology, so there's been great advances up
Correct.
to this point. What advances in VR do you see in the future, and how do you think you'll adapt it for what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. So a year ago, you couldn't do this. A year ago, it would cost you $2,000 to $2,500. You'd have to have a high-powered laptop and tethered goggles, right? Now it's just they're untethered goggles, and the price point's like $395, $300. And so it really pushes it out there for a lot of users to use it. And so I see it a lot of different avenues to push in, like analytics, for example. When I bought cars, I'd use a core inventory forecast to determine what I needed to buy. And so I can push that right into VR, into the visual of the buyer, versus on a pen and piece of paper.
Very interesting.
That's what's used now.
We always like to end the podcast by asking a little bit of advice for Oklahoma entrepreneurs and business owners.
Yeah, I would say this is a passion of mine. The old adage is if you find something you love and you're passionate about, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's my case. I've loved it. I hadn't worked in a day in my life these last 15 years. Because I just love cars. I love what I do. And so I would just say, if you're not passionate about it, if you don't love it, why do it?
Well, thank you, Ben Schwarz from Goggle Auctions, for being our speaker today and being on the Oklahoma Venture Forum podcast.
Hey, you're welcome. I love to be here. Thanks.